Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to Radio Works. And I'm here with fellow Radio Works host, Sabrina. Welcome, Sabrina Salmi. And you have an absolutely amazing bio. You're an author, a multi-award winning speaker, and you've done masses of exciting and amazing things. You're founder of a school with the Harris Academy, which is massive. I don't even know how you fit it in. And on top of that, you are the mother of the Fantastic Five. So, on top of all of these things, you're going to be hosting an event.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for inviting me to be interviewed. It's quite interesting being in the hot seat. Yeah, what would you like to discuss? What would you like to know about me?
So, people that listen to my show haven't met you before, so I know I've just introduced you a little bit, but that's only a tiny bit compared to everything you do. So, would you like to tell everybody what you do, what lights your flames, how you run your life?
How am I running me? Running me at the moment. Yeah, what lights my fire? Family. I love family, community, anything that has that kind of congruency. That's why I've got the involvement in school, entrepreneurship for youth. I'm very much about holistically supporting families. So I'm going back to 2006. Most people know me for setting up an organisation called the Mobile Single Parents Project. We got a lot of media coverage on that one. So BBC London News, Channel 4 documentaries, Radio LBC. Just been basically playing with life, playing in the sense of having fun. I love to come from a space of effortless flow, connections, and just treating people with respect. Unique opportunities come out of that. I think that's kind of been the ethos of how we operate as a family. So you usually find me supporting friends. I work very closely with a good friend of ours called Gary, electrical engineer, blimp operation projects. So I get involved in varied things. Anything that's to do with that, the greater good, our community, ourselves, and globally, really. So really inspired by what children can do. That's a big part of my life. I am a mother of 5. So I like to be mummy first and then do what I need to do afterwards. So I spend my life being me while kids are at school, managing what they do. My 2 eldest children are public speakers and authors. The 3 little ones, 2 of them are authors and they want to take to the stage. So they're all activating in their various ways. But yeah, I guess life is running me in a beautiful way. Unique opportunities show up. And I just, I say yes to those that resonate, to be honest.
Brilliant. And I know that you have worked with lots and lots of different organisations and created lots of platforms, actually, not just one. But what is it that you are particularly involved with just now?
So I've just recently won a Radio Works Authors Award for a book called Lone Parenthood. So a lot of my work is spent working with single parents. I felt, I guess, at the start of setting that up, I felt that there was a lot of stereotypes, a lot of it being negative stereotypes, and I wanted to kind of heighten the fact that it's hard enough being a parent, when there's 2 at home or 2 supporting factors, but it's tenfold more difficult if you're a single parent. And when I say a single, I mean like literally not having a support network. Some people do have really good support networks through family and friends, but a lot of the people I support, very isolated. Some people haven't gone out into the street. Some people don't. They haven't really picked up their pieces from the crash, so to speak. So I help them to remember their dreams, their dreams before they became a single parent, be that a single father or a single mother. So a lot of my time spent coaching, attending meetings. I do have various JVs, so attending meetings or kind of managing my children is another hat that I have on, because they have various opportunities, which is just amazing. But just this effortless flow of life. To be quite frank with you, none of this was has turned out the way I imagined it. It's all turned out far greater than I could possibly encapsulate. So I'm really enjoying the natural flow of life.
It sounds as though, you know, things it can be really exciting. I think you start thinking, oh, I'd like to achieve this, and so you start working towards goals, and along the way you meet amazing people and amazing things happen, and you achieve more than you ever expected to be able to achieve, because life's more wonderful, and actually our minds are more wonderful than we give them credit for most of the time, I suspect. Yes. And I think probably when you started out your journey, it wasn't that long ago, was it?
Oh, our journey started going back to 2006. So I started my journey a long time ago. I didn't delve into personal development world per se until 2011. So that's not so long ago. But I've been coaching since 2006, and I got a grant from Unlimited. I'm always shouting their praises. I think they're absolutely amazing because they give £5,000 grants to individuals, not so much just businesses. They support them, give you a business mentor. That was brilliant for me. The difference that really made a difference to get my ideas off the ground. I was at university. I'd been helping people, and someone said to me, "Oh, you know, what's your company called?" And I was thinking, "Company? Help someone, you know." And some people won court cases and various things I was doing. They said, "Well, surely this is a company, it's called Grassroots." And I had no idea what that was. I was doing a computing degree, and I was just blown away that you can actually get paid for helping people. I thought they was quite balmy, to be fair. At the time, I didn't realize you can get paid for helping things. And there was this kind of internal conflict going, that's not right. You know, I'm helping someone because I can. Why would they pay me for it? So there was all this stuff that I started to learn about myself, you know, self-discovery about my mindset at the time. So that's that. They give grants, and I got that award on my birthday, actually, 2007. Wow. So that was really, it was just an awakening. It was weird because I was towards the end part of my degree, thinking that I was going to go into this IT world, the computing world, and do computer programming. I used to code until like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. I was really passionate. And I felt so fulfilled in this sort of secret life. I lived a double life. And I was going, why don't I just set something up? My friends thought I was crazy. And it was just like a burning desire inside. And I didn't have a clue what I was doing, to be fair. It just felt nice. It felt amazing. And it was just one thing after another. And I think it's Jack Canfield that talks about, you don't need to see the whole road, you know, you just need to see the next step. And I think that's literally what happened. I think I just took the step to say, oh, well, someone said that it benefits them. Let me do what's next. So my university got me my first radio interview, and it just kept on spiraling from like the momentum built on from there. And it was just amazing. I landed on radio. Then I didn't have etiquette in a sense of, you know, now people send press release through. I didn't know anything about that. So you can imagine I was just like playing around. I would phone up BBC reception and say, could I be on this show? Could I be on that show? And this woman goes, no, you know, what do you do? And I just kept on phoning. I was like, what needs to happen in order for it to happen? And then she went, that woman's on the phone again. Like, can we do something? Because I don't think she's going to stop calling. I remember her kind of trying to mask the phone. It's quite funny. And I met one of my best friends there, Melanie Stewart. So they invited me. Well, they actually said they were going to come out because I used to do sort of like family fun days. I bought a bouncy castle and a trampoline, and we would put it out in the daytime and take it down by the evening. So they said, what could you do that we can come and video? So I was like, we could do that. And there was loads of people in the community that really liked it. But then they had some sort of breaking news, and they said, we can't do that no more. So I was like, oh, that's a shame, but you can come to the studio. Well, I should have been happy, but I wasn't, because I'm naturally an introvert. I love people, but to go on TV, I was like, that's not so cool for me. So there I was. They sent a car. So I was like, can I bring a client with me? Because that was just like, wow, I don't want them to think about me. Let them focus on someone else. So thank God they said yes. So me and my client went up to the BBC. And I was hyperventilating, and this lovely woman, like I said, Melanie, she coached me before going on. And it's like, there's 8 cameras, and they're going, don't look in the camera. I'm going, which one? I was falling apart. But again, I think if anyone's listening, often what we think is happening is not what's really happening, because I was really panicked and scared. And people said it was a really good message. It's quite interesting what our perception is compared to what people see.
Yeah, I think that's true. When you watch people and they're quite nervous, so they just say whatever they can, and it's usually because if they're nervous like that, it usually comes straight from the heart. So yeah, I think some of the best messages can come when you kind of fight, flight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tend to operate from that quite a lot, and it seems to be working. So let's stay there. So yeah, interesting journey.
And so, would you like to tell us a little bit about your event that you're running?
Yes, certainly. Thank you. So on the 1st of June, that's International Children's Day, between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m, we're having an amazing event. I'm not saying it because of me. I'm saying because the event is to celebrate you, the listeners. It's in celebration and in support of you. Marina Nanny has this amazing platform that she supported with her son, Dari. I can't do it any justice in words, to be honest, but basically it's a platform whereby you feel celebrated and supported. So it's an evening gala, children are welcome, it's International Children's Day, and it's going to be in celebration and support of you. We're going to do some professional photos. For anyone that's thinking about starting a professional journey, we need to know how to present ourselves. So having that professional photo is the difference that makes the difference. They say a picture speaks 1,000 words. It really does. Since me having my professional photos, people said that it's such a transformation. Yes, they know what I do, and that because they've known me, they buy into what I'm saying. But people that don't know me, the image that I was projecting before wasn't really giving off the same caliber of message. So on the night, there'll be stage time. There's going to be an award one, and attendees will be put into the Sovereign magazine. This is not an online magazine, it's a tangible magazine. Like, how cool is that? But the idea is to get families around the table together so they can learn to function as pieces of the puzzle, not a mini-me, not... Yeah, I do believe that parents are important, but I think how can we create a utopia family whereby children feel like they're celebrated for who they are, not the grades they get, not for what they can achieve, because I know you get this whole when you're going on school run, it's like the whole club of my child does this, my child does this, and no, my child can do 3 cartwheels. Stop comparing, just allowing children to be themselves. Because I kind of got not caught up in it, I observing, and I found that quite interesting. And the amount of pressure that puts on children, it's just really sad, to be honest. So the idea is that some families do it already, but one thing that I realized that my children really lit up when we started to say, you're really lovable, you love to have a cuddle, and you teach us as a family to love more. I've got a son that's incredibly, he just bounces off the wall. He sees something, wants to jump off of it, but he teaches us ultimately how to be a bit more adventurous, spontaneous. So if we can teach family members how they can be happy the way they are as individuals, not having to overlap, be each piece to the puzzle, and ultimately build an empire. So the idea is to install the inspiration for families to create a family anthem, something that can unify them, a family goal, so that they're not just family for the sake of them going off individually. They have their individual goals, don't get me wrong, but they have a common goal. So it's kind of mirroring essences of what I've been exposed to of how some of the elite families work. What do you do to tie in to build up your family empire? So it's not just your dream, it's a collective dream that goes on to kind of nourish the family for generations to come. So it's no point having an individual in the family that's wealthy and then having to just kind of pay that wealth back into the family. What if you think on a bigger scale? How can you create an abundance that goes on for generations to come? Leave it as your legacy. And I like to say live the legacy, not so much just leave it.
Yeah, I like that, because the idea of leaving a legacy is something that's happening for future people. The idea of leaving a legacy is that it's here for you now and for future generations. And I think that's really inspiring. I love that idea.
Oh, thank you. And again, as well, I think I've never been I've just stepped into the public speaking realm. And one of the reasons I think I had a bit of resistance, I didn't want the whole glorification. I think it's really unfair when we tend to glorify people. It's okay to have someone that you admire, but that kind of leaves that person to be the perfection that we're not. You know, the imperfection is perfection. That's my saying anyway. But it's kind of allow people to make their mistakes, because there isn't any such thing as mistakes in a sense. It's just feedback. That's how we learn. We stumble so we can walk stronger and taller. So I think it wouldn't make any sense me standing here and saying that it's my family is amazing. We have ups and downs, you know, we weave our way through life, but at the same time, we are pretty much who we are and who we're going to become because of the amazing people that surround us. So also installing on that night, we want to talk about mentorship, about coaching. Who do you have as a family coach? Some people don't get a coach or mentoring or any sort of support until things go wrong. But for me personally, I have spiritual coaches, I have financial coaches, I have personal development. I have different coaches for different areas of my life, and my children do too. So the idea is just to share some hopefully golden nuggets that helped me to obviously help other families. Like my coaches, Marina Nanny is a big part of my life at the moment. Cheryl Chapman is an absolute diamond. She literally saved my life in more ways I could possibly not say. We've had people like Toby Oganusi, Sammy Blissell, Doug the Marine. We've had Andy Harrington. Like the list goes on and on. So it's kind of like when they say solopreneurs and self-made millionaires, is that the truth? You know, we are as strong as the people that surround us, the network that supports us. So it's really about how can we come together collectively for a bigger vision. So the whole dreaming big on that night on the red carpet, I really look forward to welcoming the listeners, their families there to see, you know what, you're enough just the way you are. Let's see what we can do with where we are, just simply being. And I think that when we own that space of being, everything comes to us and it could be far greater than we can possibly imagine. We've just recently moved home, and Lachey's just won an opportunity International Influencers Award. And had it been a year ago, I wouldn't ask for help. Like literally, we've spent so much money moving. It well exceeded what I thought it would cost to move, in thousands. And she came up with this opportunity, and I'm going, well, she could either miss it or I could ask. So we've just put up like a GoFundMe campaign to try and fund the flight tickets there. You know, I think it's one thing opportunity presenting, it's another thing accepting it and being appreciative of it, but it's another thing saying, actually, when do I need to step out of my comfort zone and learn to ask? Because a lot of the achievements we have to achieve are not within inside us only. We sometimes need to hold our hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important for our children to know that it's actually good to ask for help sometimes. I think the school ethos quite encourages people to feel that if they're asking for help, they're probably not doing very well, they're failing, and that actually they should just get it. And who just gets it in life? Most of the time, we don't just get it. Most of the time, we need to kind of look at things more than once, and actually having somebody there that's supporting us is really important. So you talk about coaching and mentoring, but actually that's also asking for help.
It is, absolutely.
In its way. And so actually another thing that I think I'm quite passionate about is paying it forward. I think we have in this country, all of us are privileged in this country, no matter how poor we are. We had an education. You know, there was a school to go to, there were books at the school. None of us went there with no shoes on. We all had some food. None of us are going to starve to death instantly in this country. And, you know, that's not the case in all societies. So we are privileged, and I think even no matter how poor we are, we all have something to be thankful for. And so there's some way that we can all pay things forward. And actually, by asking for help, you're giving somebody an opportunity to pay forward in a way that is beneficial to them as well, because it feels really good when you give somebody some help. And it doesn't matter if it's financial help or if you're answering a question, if you're there just giving some time. there's ways that all of us can help, and I think it's really important to celebrate asking for that help as well. So I
like what you said about giving someone else. Sorry, Kim, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you weren't. Go on.
I like what you added about allowing someone else to give. I think sometimes when people have big hearts, they're in that action of giving, but they don't realize the imbalance. And I'm talking about myself here, is that I was an excellent giver. And it was a T. Harv Eker I went to that taught me, and then Cheryl Chapman helped to heighten that, is that I was giving, and part of me didn't feel worthy of some of the things I was receiving. So I had like this beautiful lifestyle, but then when someone had to give me personally, it was kind of difficult to accept it, because I was like, oh, okay, can I do this back? You know, just receiving like lunch. Okay, I'll buy you a drink. You're in such haste to see, oh, what can I do to compensate that? And when I learned to kind of say, actually, and by allowing someone to give, they're experiencing that beautiful feeling that I really enjoy experiencing. So why would I cut them off from that experience? So you're quite right. And just the attitude of gratitude, I can't emphasize that element more than enough, because I think this is the difference that makes the difference, that gratitude, just being in a place of gratitude, because you're quite right. Here we have access to so much, and a lot of it's taken for granted. You know, how do we start our days? Are we grateful for what we have? Do we celebrate our wins? And some of the times, like, our success or our blockages are just based on the fact of just being that attitude of gratitude. You know, do we appreciate what we have? I got a call from my friend that the school that we set up, Harris Invictus, was pure. His name is Uwemade Oribator, and this man, he's like a father model to me. He's amazing in his own right, but he called me up because he wanted to school for his son. Imagine this, a labor of love as a father, that if you don't find the school that you want for your child, you create one. He said, Sabs, we're going to open up a school. And I was like, open up a school, Mads, you know? And, you know, this is what I'm saying. So it's like, it's not that I'm always the brainwork behind what we're doing. It's just being open to those opportunities, maintaining your relationships, and being in a place of love, just giving that love. And you have the most amazing connections and around you, you know, just in that space to take you to the next level. But are you willing to open up and say yes? So I said yes to him, and he took me on a wondrous journey, just like so many other people. Like, my 2 children now have to go out to Bali. That wasn't by our doing. I didn't know nothing about it, but now our network is sorry?
2 of them are going now.
Yeah, so they spotted Lachey, she won, and then they caught on to what Trey Sean's doing. So it's like, wow, like double whammy. So I was like, wow, this is like really cool. But magical things happen. They're all on our doorstep. How often do we let it in? How we do one thing is how we do something else, everything. So it's kind of like, when we're saying no to something, what else are we saying no to? And when we start saying yes, what else are we saying yes to?
Well, that's a really good message, I think. I think, do you agree, though, that the first thing we have to say yes to, the first person we have to say yes to, is ourselves?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I can tell that you are that same person as me, is that you at some point in your life were saying yes to everybody and doing things for everybody and never saying yes to yourself. Always, you were never even on the list. It didn't even occur to you to be on the list.
Yes, absolutely.
And, you know, actually, it's taken me a very long time to bother putting myself on the list. And when I did, it started to make a massive difference in my life, but also everybody else's life as well. So I look around at how things have changed because I put myself on the list and because I started aiming for some of my goals, and it's helped other people too. So that will happen to everybody. It never only helps you, but we're naturally social beings, and our goals, even the ones that you feel as though they're just for you, are actually usually for other people as well. So yeah,
that's absolutely
saying yes is a great thing. Saying no is a good thing sometimes too.
That's important. Exactly. Having healthy boundary systems. Exactly. Healthy boundary system is also a part of healing, because you don't have to say yes to everything. Knowing, you know, what resonates. I think fine-tuning who you are and knowing what you desire to play with. You know, I'm very before I was very open to everything. I kind of didn't have any boundaries. Anything went with Sabrina. But now I realize that it's actually a blessing for me to have healthy boundary systems. It lets people know what goes and what doesn't go. Because if you was to hand a diamond this size to someone who's never seen a diamond before, they might just put it on the floor. It's not their fault. They won't know. If you assist them by understanding the weight of what it is you're handed to them, they then start to treat it differently. And I had to realize who I was. I had to recognize how important it was for me to love myself, especially being mothers. Our children are constantly watching us. So in a sense, when we devalue ourselves, they're seeing that as their value. You know, sometimes the lack of value is not always a conscious thing. It's sometimes a learned behavior of a family member that you're very, very close with. You just took it on board and you don't even realize you're doing it. And I think that's what I did. I habitually had a habit of just doing things for others. It was taught, give is a good thing. Don't ask. And it was just a thought pattern that I grew up with.
Yeah. And I think that in our culture, particularly women, but men as well to a degree, but I think especially mothers, or older girls have really been given that kind of culture of you're the one who does everything, you're the support behind everything else. And it's time we celebrated ourselves.
And I think that's such a huge one. I think I noticed this more so when I got married. When I got married and I lived, I realized, not just in my life, but other people's lives, this aspect, like if the children wash the dishes or if dad washed the dishes, it was like, oh, thank you for doing that. Or I'll help you to clean, mum. And it dawned on me saying, when did I elect myself as the cleaner? Because society has these labels on. And I was thinking, how comes no one thanks me when I do it? And it's quite interesting. So in our home, we have this thing. It's not always been the case, but of late, we have, well, a couple of years back, but it's introduced, we have this thing saying we're all going to contribute to cleaning. We all get up, we all clean, because we all have a joint responsibility to maintain our environment. So there is no, I'm going to help you hoover, because you're not helping me. I didn't tell you to do, I didn't even make the mess, but you're just elected to clean it all up. And it's interesting how society places, like you're saying, all these expectations, all these roles, and the same can be twofold. Sometimes I've heard, I work with single fathers as well, and you hear the label that they're just labeled to bring in the money, and then they feel valued, they feel invisible. Kids ask them for money, wife asks them for money, they go to work, they bring it in, and they're just invisible if the cash isn't there. And they equate their ability to earn with their identity. So if they lose that, their identity goes down the drain. So it's quite interesting how twofold we create these expectations. And this is what I want to get families around the tables, that when you ask a child what they expect of you, I have to laugh. I've got all these memories. It's surprising. Expectations are so surprising sometimes. Like my daughter, she just said to me, Mum, such and such, I don't know what it was. She asked me a question. She thought I was Google, and I didn't know the answer. And she goes, but you're my mum. Like, how do you know? So is this majestic. And I say to the kids, I bleed, I get scared. And they go, you get scared, mum? Like, don't be silly. So it's like, until we realize to kind of open up that dialogue, having family meetings, sometimes our expectations could be so far from the truth.
Well, I think having family meetings is a really exceptionally great idea, which I'm looking forward to coming along to your event, and I will be there, and I'm hoping to fetch my daughter and my other half. And
become guys.
I like the idea of family meetings, so I'd like to learn more about that.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. A lot of people like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good thing to do. I mean, I sometimes make everybody sit down and say what they want for dinner, because otherwise everything I order is not good enough.
Yeah. Snap.
That's normally as much as I can manage, because trying to actually get everybody sitting down, well, it's a bit like trying to juggle cats, really, isn't it? Trying to get everybody around one table. Yeah. But I love the idea of it, so I think we should try that.
Yeah, and we'll have some fun. We'll sing. Our family has a family anthem, and that's just something we, unless we have something that unites, we forget that the Family Institute is pretty much like a corporation. And I'm not saying I kind of treat my kids as employees, but it's like, unless they feel united, like they're going towards a common goal that ultimately impacts them and fulfills them, I'm not interested. Like, my kids have seen certain things, they've seen people that are successful, but when they was going to apply for grants, they kind of thought, well, that's going to be quite time consuming, Mum. It's going to take a lot of time. I asked them, what do you want out of it? My son just recently done, in December, a fathers and sons workshop at Arsenal. He was interested in buying a MacBook, being at Arsenal and being with his friends. So he created this ethos, and he loves this whole aspect of building that a strong bond between fathers and sons. So it's like when a child understands they can get what they want out of it, they are going to activate. And then the trouble is, which is a good problem to have, is they don't stop. They literally don't stop. So yeah, it's going to be an amazing night. It's also going to be a night of learning for us. It's the first time we're doing a family orientated. Normally we've dealt with women or we've dealt with fathers, but to have all of the family in the room, I think that's going to be really powerful and quite emotional, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think really unusual as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. I've never been to an event where it was designed for families. I've been to events where there were children there, but I've never been to one where it was designed for you to fetch your family and for the whole family to be involved. So I'm really looking forward to it. So,
and that's the reason why I set it up, because when I used to take my kids, I would be taking them to adult events, and they would. The people were really nice, don't get me wrong, but I just felt guilty because they were kids that I was wondering that I was going to disturb. And it was just like, how can we create the same learning, but as a family, and become a powerful force together?
Well, thank you for setting up the event and for telling us a bit about it. So again, would you like to share when it is, where it is, and where people can find your link?
Certainly. So I can send you a link, perhaps could be included in the video. I don't know if that's possible, but it's on the 1st of June. I can send you something. It's on the 1st of June, 6 till 9, and it's called Dream Big Together, sorry. And it's going to be an amazing night. So you get professional photos and stage time. There's going to be an award won on the night. So just come along with your family on the red carpet. When was the last time you went out on the red carpet to a family gala to have fun and discover? I think you walk in the door one family and you're going to walk out a united, powerful family.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Sabrina, and thank you for spending some time talking to me, because you're obviously really busy. So I look forward to seeing you on that evening, if not before then. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.